To understand the origins of the pain issue, we need to go all the way back to the early months of 2014.
At the start of the year, I'd started to notice growing episodes of pain where my entire body would feel like it was being crushed in a vice. I was starting to find it hard to think logically when I was having a pain episode. I found that I was losing concentration and I was almost getting lost in a fog of pain. The GP I saw was relatively inexperienced, and because he couldn't see any discernible pattern in the diary that I'd given him, he essentially did nothing. And I found that really frustrating. By the middle of 2014, the episodes of pain had become more frequent and more intense. And by this stage, I was really starting to worry if there was something seriously wrong. I nagged and finally got an appointment with my GP in early 2015. The GP sent me off for the usual battery of blood tests, and 2 days after I had those blood tests, I was called back to the GP's office, and it was at that meeting that I was told I had chronic lymphocytic leukemia and that it was terminal. So as 2015 rolled into 2016, it was a year distanced from the leukemia diagnosis. Inevitably, after diagnosis, my sole focus became dealing with what it meant to have lymphocytic leukemia, and the issues about pain were put onto a back burner. 2016 turned into 2017, 2018, and 2019. These episodes of pain became more frequent and more intense. I found that what started off as something that was happening once or twice a week was now happening for 3 or 4 days a week, and it was lasting for 1 or more days. The impact was becoming more and more profound. I found that when I was trying to work, I could get lost in a fog of pain where I simply couldn't think clearly. I couldn't think logically or rationally. And the concept of trying to do a complex analysis for a client became unspeakably difficult. I wanted to get the issue of the pain resolved. Every consultation with my leukemia team, with my GPs, and with the cardiac team, I brought up the issue of pain. But everybody kind of seemed to almost like, well, that's not my problem. It's not linked to your heart attack, which was true, or to your leukemia, which probably wasn't true. It felt to me that nobody was taking my pain situation seriously. And I'll be absolutely honest with you, the fact that none of these medical teams, my GP, my haematology team, my cardiac team, seem to be taking this issue seriously, I started to wonder, do they think I'm a neurotic hypochondriac? It was like punching a brick wall, and I got nowhere. I felt trapped in a prison of pain. But at the end of the storm, there's a golden sky, as the song goes. I was talking to my sister. She put me in touch with somebody with whom I had a 10-minute telephone conversation. And that 10-minute telephone conversation changed my life completely. My wonderful sister put me in touch with a chap called Cyrus Cooper, who was an expert in pain management. For the first time, somebody was telling me that I'm not a neurotic hypochondriac, because that's what I was genuinely thinking. That's what I thought I had become. Out of a fog of pain, confusion, frustration, I suddenly had clarity, understanding, and most importantly, a way forward. He brought the first rays of sunshine into my life that I'd felt for a very long time, and I will be forever indebted to him. He advised me to get my GP to send me to see a pain management specialist. Frustratingly, again, I got very little support from my GP surgery. Inevitably, with all that pressure building, all the stress, all the anxiety, an explosion was an inevitable conclusion. And when it came, I happened to be with a practice nurse having one of my annual reviews, and she was talking to me about something or other, and I just broke down. I never lose control. I never lose my temper. I'm never too high and I'm never too low. But I just sat there and sobbed uncontrollably, because for 5 years, this frustration had built and built and built and built, and I was getting ignored and sidelined, and I was frustrated and angry. The practice nurse interceded with the senior GPs, and finally I got an appointment with the pain management practice at Lister Hospital in Stevenage. The Lister Hospital pain management team were really, really helpful. They arranged an MRI, blood tests, tissue tests, a whole range of battery of tests. 2 weeks after these tests, I had a consultation with the pain management professor who was in charge of the clinic, and he looked me in the eye and he said, "You have chronic pain syndrome." my overwhelming emotion was just pure and utter relief. What happened next was truly extraordinary. But we'll talk about that in the next episode. Honestly, they taught me magic. They taught me a way to control pain.